Something is changing, and what's changing is the dynamic within the office from a leadership perspective.
I'm a man on a mission. I don't need no permission.
Unstoppable, my friend. How are you?
In this episode, Kerwin is actually in the middle of his tour around Australia, but he decides to stop by the office just to empower some of the leaders in the organization. So if you're interested in leadership, check this out.
But can you see how you're training him not to communicate with you? Because you're standing back.
Yeah, I have been.
Yeah.
100%.
And this is what I've learnt this time round with these guys. If I'm not communicating with them, I'm not empowering them. And I'm realising, and you see it at the group level, because everyone's like, well, I want to touch. But so, well, I can't touch everyone, but who are the people I can touch that can pass it on?
Yeah.
It's the slow process of empowerment. And these guys just need to be developed over time so that we can step back, because if we're constantly trying to, and as I've said before, I'd rather them be 80% of us or 70% of us and being able to do stuff rather than it requiring 100% of you and me. If there's no problems to solve, then we aren't needed.
Yeah.
It's actually a really good thing. But my goal is to get to the point where it's not that I don't want to touch with the team, I do, but you know, when you've got 50 plus people, it's really hard for me to go around and pat everyone on the back. So I need strong leaders who can take care of not just the leadership, the management, but also the acknowledgement that's required for performance, but then have the capability from a communication standpoint to have free flow communication. One of the things that we've identified as an area of work that we need to really get better at as an organisation is information flow. Because what will typically happen is a little bit of smoke will start to happen somewhere, and someone will look and go, fuck, I'll try to put it out. Oh, fuck, I can't put it out. I really should tell someone, I don't know how to, everyone's so busy, I'll just say nothing. And then something blows up and the person goes, well, yeah, I actually saw that. And say, why? Just feed the information up. So I want someone that's basically, where there's just this free flow valve of information backwards and forwards, someone I'm communicating with on an almost daily basis, by text, by, someone who's not afraid to call me. Because some people, because of whatever position they think I hold based on my brand, they're a little bit afraid to reach out to me. So that to me is counterproductive. I need someone who can just, you've got an issue, ring me up. Want to text me at 3 o'clock in the morning? Fucking text me at 3 o'clock in the morning. I may even respond, I don't want people who are going to put me on a pedestal and treat me in a precious way. As you will hopefully start to kind of get a bit of a feel for, I'm just a dude. I'm just a regular bloke. Yeah. So that really is the kind of 360 of what I'm looking for. Yeah. You got like two?
Yeah, absolutely.
Come on in. So, and this is what I'm trying to communicate. We need to empower you guys. We need you guys to be essentially becoming partners within the business, because if we can't run the business while we're not here, then we don't have a business, we have a fucking job. Yeah. And so I want you guys to start becoming almost like the leadership that is here when we're not here, but it's there just constantly. Yeah. And if that means you're leading in the area of social, if you're leading in the area of finance, that means you lead. Because the challenges that we've had culturally is when little things have popped up, people have seen them, they've had visibility, but no one's acted on them. Now the next stage is empowering you guys to be able to have the bigger conversations and the tougher conversations. Because at the moment, Marie and I put out a lot of the fires. Because right now, with the way that we're handling problems, it's not scalable. Yeah. Because Marie and I are often required so frequently when it comes to certain issues, whether they be operational or cultural. Yeah. And so now I'm really putting a focus on the leadership team, and so we're going to be having a regular catch up from now on as a leadership team.
Absolutely.
Just to create a bit of a rhythm. Do you know what I mean? We're doing this to you because you're now going to go out there and do it to the next layer and the next layer and so forth and so on. And so we really want to start creating that kind of a construct in here, so that there's no reason we can't replicate the culture within K2 in here, because we've had it intermittently. It's just that consistency, Exactly. And I think, the more we add some strong rhythms to what we do, so that we can spend time, Marie and myself can spend time with, the leadership team, and just have these conversations, give you guys the frames, give you guys the perspective, so that, it creates a high level of autonomy in your own role. So then you don't need us so much. Well, listen, I think we're having another meeting at 3, I think. Okay. Are you pretty flexible for the rest of the afternoon? So you know what's happening at 3?
You're sitting leadership in?
Yeah, okay. Mate, I'm feeling really solid about the leadership team.
No, good.
Really good. So no, everything is good.
So you're leading this meeting?
Sure. And by the way, just so you know, the theme of the meeting is really just the empowerment. Guys, we can't lead at scale unless you guys are leading. But the thing is, I can feel it. Yeah. I can feel it from them.
They want it.
They want it.
Yeah.
First things first, I want to thank you guys so much for holding the space in the office while we were away. I know it's always an ongoing issue normally, or a challenge, that when Marie and I leave the office, that it's like, if you want anything to go wrong, just ask Marie and I to leave, and that's normally what happens. But at the same time, I don't know, there's been a shift in the energy in a very positive light around the leadership team. Because right now, one of the things that's become apparently obvious, and we've always tried to scale, and we've always had, you know, smaller issues around culture, is looking at why can't we scale the culture? You know, because when we look at our culture, it is so unique. One of the biggest challenges we've had, no challenge generating leads, you know, challenges when it comes to maybe getting sales, but when it comes to the culture, it's the one thing that we've kind of constantly been bumping our heads up against a bit of a ceiling. And so I've been doing a lot of thinking about that, and where I've realised that I've gone wrong is creating and really empowering a second layer, because we've always been quite flat in structure, and I'm willing to admit that it's not the perfect model. There needs to be a level of just a layer of hierarchy, a crust that sits above. And, you know, that's what we've referred to as leadership, but obviously it's management as well with you guys, depending on how you act.
And last week I was like kind of leaning back, going, everything's fine, like culture's great. And then this week I feel like a lot of tension came, like a lot of opportunities for open and honesty on the surface. And then I'm just like, wow, we have like a lot of work to do. And I think
it's always the way. Yeah. But you always sit back and yeah, nailed it. And then you're like, fuck, no, I haven't.
So, but I'm excited about that, because there's so many opportunities literally just popped up.
Yeah.
Like, wow, like next level.
Absolutely. And as I said, I've got this feeling right now, and my feeling is you guys it's already happening. It's just, I wanted to have this meeting and just go, guys, it's now it's time for leveling up. It's now next level.
I think just for me, it just becomes easier the more I actually just really learn little bits about culture and expert. It just gets better. Like in time. Basically, I've only been here for a couple of months, I think, so I'm just learning all the time from these guys and videos and everything. So it'll just keep getting better.
It will. And it does. Yeah. Where I really want to start getting really solid is, as the information flow is coming up, the information flow that is going to be coming back is empowering you guys to solve the problems. And you guys solving the problems. In some cases, solving the problems before you even pass the information up the chain, because it's like it's becoming that instantaneous. And so from our perspective, that means giving you guys autonomy. I believe that in order for us to scale the culture, you guys need to really start owning more of the decisions that are happening at a culture level, that are happening at a team level, regardless of who you're talking to, how old they are, who they are. You need to start holding the standard that Marie and I have when we're in the office, you know, around your own personal language, around looking at performance and looking at competition. We still have some really, in just small pockets, we've got some unhealthy perspectives around talented people coming in and being a threat. And that to me is fucking disastrous when you consider this is a team sport. It's not boxing. We're not playing the game in isolation. And if we're not playing with good team players, then who are you going to pass the fucking ball to? Put it this way, if I could hire someone who's better than me, I would fucking do it in a heartbeat. I have no threat when it comes to other people's skills. If anything, I get fucking juiced. All I want to do is change the world. And so we really have to start nurturing, respecting and developing the talent that we have, and not looking at anyone in this organisation as a threat to them. That to me is it's a disastrous mindset. And if we see it, and it is popping up in a couple of places, and if we see it popping up, we have to, if we feel it within ourselves, we have to nip it in the bud. Most importantly, if we feel it within ourselves. You know, because as I was saying to Matthias earlier, which I said to Marie already, and I'm now repeating myself, if I could hire someone who was twice as good as me, I'd do it in a fucking heartbeat. Because I'm not attached, I feel no threat. It's just, if we can further the mission, if we can further the purpose, I'll eat dog shit, you know? And so for me, I want you guys to start demonstrating what that looks like. More importantly, managing that from a cultural perspective when you're seeing it come up. And then using us, myself and Marie, more as your coaches to come to say, hey, listen, I've got this issue, I don't know how to deal with it. We give you the talk track, we give you the frame, you go and deal with it. Or alternatively, once you feel like you've got to a level where you don't even need to ask us, you just deal with it and come to say, this is what happened, it worked, it didn't work. What would you have done differently, as an example? And to the point where then that intermediary is not even required, because you guys are just taking care of business. Because right now we don't have a business, we have a little bit of a job. I have a job because this thing will not run without me.
Sometimes I feel I don't necessarily know what the next step is, but that's also on me. I need to ask if I don't know what to do in certain situations. But I do totally agree that we need to be doing more to take it away from you guys.
Absolutely. And just again, some of these issues are so fucking micro, but it's viral, you know, and it's infectious. And the moment it gets in one area, and we've seen this happen before, you know, it starts to spread. And so we all have to take a higher level of responsibility. And what's interesting is I actually honestly feel like there's been a shift. There's been a shift with you. There's been a shift with you. I know there's some shifts going with you, and you're always streaking out in front. But something is changing, and what's changing is the dynamic within the office from a leadership perspective. But you guys, I'm not sure if you guys can see it yet, but I can tell you it is happening, and I can feel it when I'm not even in the office.
So is that a good shift or bad shift?
It's a fucking great shift.
Oh, awesome.
Which means you guys are managing well. You guys are managing really, really well. You guys are leading well. But now it's just me seeing that going, right, you guys want more, it's now more. And what this means is you're no longer just leaders within your department, which you guys already know this. As I was talking about with both you guys earlier, it's cross-departmental leadership. And I want to empower you guys also to start thinking a little bit more strategically from this perspective of management. You know, I know, Matthias, you give up a lot of time that you could be spending on viral videos to put out fires. And in many respects, that is actually more valuable to me than you doing viral videos in some respects. Does this make sense? Yeah. Because if I'm not here and a fire starts and you're able to extinguish it immediately, but it costs you a couple of hours or a day on a viral video, then that problem that it could potentially lead to 2 people leaving no longer exists. Does that make sense?
Yeah, prioritization.
And so this is what I'm getting to. I want you guys to really start prioritizing the management component of your leadership, which is ensuring that you're not just leading, not just inspiring, but you're also making sure that, you know, in some respects, and I know this is going to be a little bit difficult to understand, but when you start introducing management to leadership, it's really helping people get there. It's less about you getting what your stuff done and more about helping other people get their stuff done. I'm creating that connection. You know, managers need to manage and do some work, but their goal is management. And if we're expecting them to work as hard as everyone else, then they're not going to be able to manage.
Well, my time is I'm loving it, but
I get it.
Got nothing.
But no, you've got heaps. It's just learning how to allocate it strategically, you know? And that's what we teach with our K2s, is everyone's got the same 24 hours.
100%.
But it's how you segment and allocate that time in a really deliberate and intentional way, leveraging the resources you have around you.
And that's my growth. That's where I need to grow next.
100%. And just, you know, find where your groove is, where your genius is, and then just fucking build up around it. That's what a good manager will do.
I'm doing it.
Yeah.
I want to be on the phone, but
I get it. And that's and that's it. That's exactly what I'm talking about. But you've got to understand, you could have sacrificed developing 8 incredible talent, and you've got another, 80 grand in sales, but we have 4 of those or 3 of those leave because they don't see the development.
9 people on the phone or 1. I get it.
Bingo. So for me, I really want to start empowering you guys to, be able to be ticking less boxes if it means that we're putting out more fires. I'd rather tick less boxes and have a healthier culture than be ticking a fucking shit ton of boxes, but our turnover rate is where it's at and we're constantly putting out fires. And to me, honestly, I get on the road and I read some of these things and I'm grateful, don't get me wrong, let's make this clear, grateful for the information flow. I'm like, wow, some of these people don't realise what we're trying to do here. As I said, this isn't a thing to make money. This is a fucking calling. Like, I'm doing this because this is what I was put on this planet to do. And it's frustrating when you're trying to go out there, and by a calling, my calling isn't to make money, my calling isn't to do up flash cars, my calling is to fucking help people. So, I can't think of a more...
noble.
Well, it's not, I'm not even noble. It's just...
Conscious?
It's just... You would expect when that was the focus of the mission that everyone would be getting behind you, not standing in front of you trying to push you back that way. And that's where you guys come in. It's important for you guys to flow, because who's feeling, I'm sure you guys, I can see your eyes, you're all feeling a little bit more inspired as a result of this conversation.
Oh, sure.
And it's like, how do we transfer that conversation? How do we transfer that knowledge? And I honestly feel like we are fucking priming right now with everything that's going on, especially with the sales and the marketing. It's about to fucking collide, and it's going to be the equivalent of a big bang, and there's going to be fucking tsunamis everywhere. And as I just said to you, I'm not kidding, like, we haven't even fucking started yet. Like, that's the cool, exciting, the scary part. We haven't even fucking started. And where we're about to go with the trajectory we're on, I just need solid leadership, because I can't do it myself. Marie can't do it herself. We need you guys to scale it. And that's the beautiful thing. You guys are all like sponges, and that's why I'm really excited, because you just sit there and soak it up. And as I said, I've got this feeling right now, and my feeling is you guys it's already happening. It's just, I wanted to have this meeting and just go, guys, it's time for leveling up. It's now next level. I feel we've kind of got to that stage where there's so much, I don't think there's anyone around this table that doesn't feel like that they can't come to me or Marie, and I know you guys are going to be, setting up a different communication strategy. So there should never be an excuse moving forward of, I thought you were too busy. I didn't want to bug you. As I've said to many of you, I don't care if you text me at 3 o'clock in the morning. There's a high probability I'll probably text you back by 4:30. But I just want to make sure that we have a real integrity around the information and data flow, and that comes from the permission that you've given yourself to be able to participate in this. Because if you don't participate, this ain't going to work. So I want you guys to be passing the energy down, filtering it down, because we're fucking lucky to do what we do. We really are. Anyone got anything to contribute? Anything?
Just amen.
Anyways,
I'm a man on a mission.
Thank you for watching Kday 114, and we're curious, what was your biggest lesson watching this video? Was there anything practical you can take away for yourself? Would love to hear it in the comments, and until next time, take care of yourself.